Anthony Murphy. I am the Director of Operations at Lead the Way Learning Academy. We are part of the ANT program funded by Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services. I'm excited to have Aja Farris and Christopher Smith-Hughes here today. They play a huge role in our community, and I think it's great to have representation of people that look like us and that have leveled up and done some great things. So without further ado, I'm gonna start with Aja. If you could just introduce yourself and kind of your pathway and what led you to the role you're in now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Columbus Fire Department that's the career path that I chose. And it's kind of the career path that chose me sort of all at the same time. So yes, I am a Columbus firefighter. I am also an EMT or an emergency medical technician. I am also a 911 operator, and I'm currently working in recruitment, which has brought me here to speak to all of you. So love what I'm doing. Been a firefighter now almost 11 years, it will be in December. I went to Kent State University. I had a scholarship there actually for women's track and field. Studied psychology and sociology and some Pan-African studies as well. And then when I graduated, I thought to myself, sitting behind the desk and trying to figure out everyone else's problems, maybe not for me when I had an athletic career behind me. I wanted to do something active, still make a difference in people's lives, save a life, honestly, when I thought about it and realized that that was something that I was capable of doing verbally and physically. So was challenged one day, was told that I couldn't be a firefighter because I was a girl. So that lit that fire even more, pun intended. Yes, so now here I am, again, almost 11 years later, proving to the world, really, that I can do anything that I put my mind to. So I'm excited, again, to be here to talk to you about this opportunity because it is one that is for you as well. I am a mother. I am a Black woman, and I am a mother, and I'm a firefighter. And it's pretty cool to stand in front of students that I look like and that look like me. And I'm glad that I can inspire you all, the women, the men of all colors. I really find it exciting and gratifying, this career. So hopefully it's something you think about, because there's definitely a lot of ways and opportunities, advancement within the fire department as well. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you again for showing up and showing interest in our youth. Chris, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be here as well. My name is Sergeant Christopher Smith-Hughes. I am a recruitment sergeant for the Columbus Division of Police. I'm actually a Columbus resident, born and raised. I grew up on the east side of Columbus, over in the Eastmore area. That's where Mr. Murphy graduated from high school. So I graduated from St. Charles, though, and I ended up attending the Ohio State University as an Ohio State Young Scholar. I finished there in 2003 with a degree in Criminology and Spanish. And I ended up going into like substitute teaching. And also I worked for the Hannah Neal Center for Children, which deals with children who were offended against and then became offenders, and just working to get them back going. After doing that for a while, I had an event at our church, and a commander came to that event and spoke to some of us, kind of asked us, hey, how would you, help the Linden community? And I wrote a whole bunch, and he was like, hey, how old are you? And I told him at the time I was 23, and he was like, what's your educational background? And I told him, and he was like, you ever thought about being a police officer? And I was like, man, no way. I'm good. I'm cool on that. I'd rather go federal or try to do something with the state. And he was like, well, you should think about it. So I talked to my wife. She was my wife at the time? Yeah, she was my wife at the time. And then my family, and they pretty much let me know, like, hey man, this is the life you live in already. Like, it's just, you don't got a gun and a badge. Whenever you see something going on, you're trying to get involved, trying to stop somebody from doing something. This is just a great opportunity, and you can stay, local at home and help at home. So that's something that's always been on my heart, to help people, to be present, to, step in for, the downtrodden. And then again, to, just get people educated. I think it's important to know the rules because you're responsible for them whether you know them or not. So why not know them? So ended up getting them to policing, ended up being amazing. I wasn't stuck behind a desk all day. I was in my cruiser driving around actually the neighborhood that I grew up in, serving that community. And then getting promoted in 2013, and now I'm a sergeant rank. So it's just a really good opportunity because now as a recruiter, I get to share these employment opportunities with those who don't even know about them, right? So I didn't even think about a career path in law enforcement, but once I found out about it, how much we're compensated, the benefits, the potential for, additional educational benefits. Both of us, we have 100% tuition reimbursement once you get through 1 year of service. So, I mean, that's amazing, up to a PhD. So that's, every job doesn't have that. And then, just again, saving a life, helping people as a Black father, as a Black man, in this community, loving this community, being from in this community, representing this community every day. These are all wonderful things. And, it's absolutely a pathway that I hope you all consider. And we look forward to your questions.
Definitely. Moving on, you both mentioned family, so we're going to jump into a question. Aja first. These are questions that came from some of the students and people from Lead the Way. So the first one, how does your career choice affect your family and or personal life? And can you leave work at home?
Oh, how does it affect my family? Let's see. So when I actually pursued the Columbus Fire Department, I was 31 years old. When I received the call that I was going to be starting the next training class or training academy class, actually prior to that, I was pregnant when I received the first call, and then we found out that I was going to be able to start that training academy class. But my daughter was 4 months old at the time. So as far as how it affected me, it started from the very, very get-go. So structurally at home, we all had to figure out ways to keep the baby, for me to be able to go to work, to be able to put my all into this job and be able to do a good job and be successful at it, and then still be able to come home and get my studies done. It was tough, but my family is important. They are my rock, and without them, I would not have been able to do it. So it affected my family from jump. As far as how it's affecting me now, in the most positive way, I'm proud to be a firefighter. I really, truly am. I'm proud to serve my community. I am proud to come home, in this uniform, and my daughter look at me and think I'm still cool. Believe it or not, she does. She's 11 years old. And her friends at school think I'm cool too when I come up to the school. Yeah. So those things just kind of make my heart melt. That she is excited that I am a public servant, that I am someone, that she can be proud of also and share with, those that she is in school with. So it's affected us in great ways. So the other way that's affected us is the compensation, that the sergeant mentioned earlier, 100%. I don't know where I would be today, without the type of compensation that we're receiving. It has completely changed the trajectory of my life, and made it so that I have been able to take care of my daughter and my mother. And we just bought a new home. And I mean, there's a lot of wonderful things that come from this career. And we'll definitely go more into depth, about the compensation that can, apply to you as well, the students. So if I choose to, the answer is yes. However, I am always a recruiter. I am always passionate about what I do. And if I am stopping at a grocery store on the way home and I run into somebody that I think may be interested, or they see me in my, in my blues, and they come up to me with a question, then I'm working, but I'm okay with that. Right now, I'll be honest with you, I am at home working from home, and I'm okay with this too. So yes, I can, but I don't necessarily always choose to, because I personally want to touch every single individual that I can to try to share this opportunity with them. It truly is a diamond in the rough. So yes, it can be done, but I choose not to.
Chris, I guess the same question to you. How does your career choice affect your family and personal life? And then also, can you leave work at work?
Whew, mine's a little different. I mean, I guess when I first started, family was, and family still is very supportive of me and my choice and to become a police officer, to be a part. But, oftentimes there are things that happen with the police and the community to where the police are in the wrong. And, by me being someone that my family loves, of course, the thought process goes to, is he going to be okay? We're worried about him, and is this going to spill over to us? And I've had lots of conversations with different family members and friends, just to be like, hey, I'm still me. I'm still going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to up and up. Of course, there are, sometimes, people do things that they're not supposed to, and they wear this uniform. And, I'm one of the first people to go to my family and friends and be like, hey, I don't condone that. That's not cool. It's not right. And sometimes my friends, they'll be like, hey, you need to make a statement or do that. And I'm like, well, I can talk to you all and tell you all what's going on, but, I'm not going to speak for my whole job, because that's not my place. There's people in place to do just that. And when it comes to keeping work at work, I'm going to agree with Miss Farris and say I usually don't. I'm a recruiter as well. So when people see me in this jacket or in my uniform, there's always questions. A lot of them start differently. But, I try to, be as transparent as I can, make sure I get questions answered, make sure that if there's an issue, that they may have with somebody in law enforcement, then, maybe I can give them a different perspective because I'm different. And then also there are some situations that happen at work that go home with you. I am a big advocate of mental health help. Going to see and talk to that. We have free services at both of our departments. And you need to get it when you need it, because it's very important and it'll only make you a better person. So yeah, that's that.
Another question for Aja and Chris. What are things, this is from Quinche at Groveport. She wants to know, what are things that police officers and firefighters do that nobody sees?
Well, number one, I pray. That's a big one. I pray at home with my family. I pray at work with my family, as I call my firefighting family, my second family. We talk about different runs, if we're actually running on a fire truck and things that may or may not bother us. We talk about family. We plan things together. Man, that's a big piece, is the camaraderie and building that foundation with people that you trust. And to be able to call them family is what really kind of marries me to the fire department, sort of. Let's see, what else? That's a big one. I'm gonna stick with that one. That's big. That's huge.
I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna say that as well. So I'm a big praise a lot. I got my Bible app that lets me know, hey, time for prayer. This is the prayer of the day, verse of the day. Do that multiple times a day, and I don't even know if my coworkers see that all the time, just to be honest. But I'm steadily doing that, and then there's a lot of preparation that goes into everything we do. There's a lot of planning and prep and research that goes into recruitment, that goes into, being a police officer and a firefighter. There's a lot of study. There's a lot of study that's just not viewed by everyone, and that's done. We are very in tune with our craft. We practice. There's lots of practice that goes on. Our preparation is heavy. We do a lot of in-service training, again, that nobody sees but us. But there's so many hours of preparation and study and training that we all go through, and we talk about it, and they'll be like, oh, they just get this amount of hours. Man, those hours add up. And then when you're practicing and going over reps of stuff, again, people are not seeing that, but you are honing your craft, so those are things that people don't see, but they're very, very important to what we do.
This is from Robert. He wants to know, have you ever had to go into a burning building?
Absolutely. Yes, that is part of the job. that is part of the training. So I've been into several. I was actually out on the streets for about 3 years before I got forced into our 911 operator position. So in those 3 years though, and part of our journeyman program, we're on the streets. We go through a training academy for about 8 months long. We graduate and then we go out to the streets when we kind of apply everything that we learn. So you're taking every single run, just like everybody else. So yes, I've gone into a burning building. Yes, I've been in several. I have not had a situation where I had to save any people, but I saved a cat one time and I'm very proud of that. Thank you very much. Yes, so going into a burning building, you have a crew, right? You have fire trucks, you have water, you have tools, you have a radio, you have all of your lifelines literally like right there with you, either on your body or right next to you, which is the people that you're working with, that you trust them with, your life and vice versa. So when you go into this burning building, you are relying on these people, your training, and then the different tools that you have with you. So everyone has a role. Everybody has a role. So some of us are doing search and rescue, right? And looking for people or animals. And then some of us are going and ventilating the roof. Some of us are on the outside doing a 360, looking to see if there's fire extension on one side of the building or the other. And we all have a radio and we communicate that to one another. So everyone knows what's going on every side of the building, on each floor within the building. And then we know how to, of course, attack the fire at that point. So yes, if there's fire, a room and content fire, if there's fire in one specific room, there's a group that goes in specifically and they find the fire. Once the fire is found, we make sure we got our hose line, of course, and it's got water in it. We put the fire out. So yes, it sounds scary because you see people running out and we running in, right? Makes sense, I get it, but we know what we're doing and we're confident in what we're doing. It's been more than 30 years, I think, since a firefighter has passed away from being in a situation where they were fighting fire and lost their life with Columbus Division of Fire. So, again, it's a little intimidating, but so are some other things like wearing a mask or, confined spaces or having to climb a ladder. Those are the main ones that people typically have trouble with. So we got you. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. We got you. From day one, when you come to that training academy, whatever your fears are, your concerns are, that's something that we work on. We come in early, we stay late, we do whatever it takes to get you in the right frame of mind so that you can be productive in that fire when you make entry and that you know what you're doing. We also have a group called a RIT team, which is a rapid intervention team, and they sit outside and their whole sole job is to save a firefighter if they go down. If they go down because of the fire, if they go down because of a heart issue or whatever the case may be. So we got everybody in place to make sure that everybody is cared for. Thank you.
I appreciate these opportunities because the career highlights really get to shine light on things I think we don't see. We hear, oh, this person's, we had Judge Mingo on last year, right? So it's like, oh, they're a judge. You think they just bang a gavel all day. There's so much more that goes into it. I'm excited to get into this next part, Chris, because we talked about this before we started recording. You was like, nah, ask me whatever questions you want to be transparent. And that's what I really like about you. Is just you're transparent, you're real, you're the same person you was 20 years ago. So we're going to get into 2 questions. They're a little tough, and I think things will get kind of regular after that. The first one, Antoine at Groveport asked, are police trained to have more aggression towards men of color?
No. I mean, I'll flat out say that. When we go through our training, all of our scenario-based training, we have actually a tool, and there's actually a trainer inside of this thing called a Hitman, and it is a big padded actually it's like a big red like padded like person, right? So if you have to do an arm bar on them, then you can do the arm bar. If you have to take them down or have to use a like a certain weapon, obviously not firearm or nothing like that, but you simulate something. It's all padded. So there's no race attached to this Hitman. And we also do we train something called Milo. So there's Milo, and it's kind of like a big video game, right? Area unfold in front of you, and again, there's a bunch of different types of people. There is not solely one demographic. So you'll have pretty much everything. And again, there's situations where you diffuse with just verbal. There's some situations you diffuse with your taser. There's some you use mace. There's some you may need to use a firearm. But all of these are simulated. And again, it uses a myriad of different people. And then we also have environmental rooms where we play out the same type of things. And then we use the academy staff. So again, there's no training that says use more aggression on this demographic of people. But we do have something called a use of force continuum. So that is really the official tool that we use to determine the level of aggression that we use. And nowhere does it identify any specific demographic, especially, it doesn't say anything about men of color or people of color, or, the majority or anything like that. There is no training that we have in Columbus or anywhere that I know of that specifically focuses on aggression levels toward people of color.
Question. This is Joshua over at Groveport as well. He wants to know, what is the blue wall?
So I think what we're talking about is that the blue line that's on that flag. So for a lot of people, and when I came into policing, it wasn't like a derogatory thing. It was, the thin blue line, and that was to represent the police officers in uniform, which is the blue, that is separating, society from the chaos that they could be subject to if that wall of blue police officers in uniform didn't exist. As we know, as time has gone on, other organizations have used it, and there is different meaning to it. I personally don't have any of that in my house, just because even though it has changed over time, when I got in policing, it was one thing. And now, 16 years later, we've seen it at, events on January 6th. We've seen it, in different people's campaigns. And again, it's not what it was when I came in policing. And it's actually sad that it went that way, that, people are using it as a symbol for something that it's not. And it's unfortunate. So, and I think there's also, I've heard a blue wall of silence as well. And I feel like that's no different than the street code of no snitching, right? So, that's how it feels to me with that, that I've heard before. And I disagree with them both. But I'm hoping that's what he was looking for, because that's what I know it is.
You mentioned being an athlete earlier. For some of our student athletes, whenever they decide to put down the cleats or the tennis shoes or the racket or the golf clubs, whatever it is, they struggle trying to find something. You mentioned how you were an athlete. How did that help you in your role as a firefighter?
Greatly. The structure, number one, the team aspect, number two, having a body that was physically fit for a job that required me to be physically fit. Number three, we as in women, we have some struggles pursuing the fire department physically, if we are not keeping our bodies in shape cardiovascularly, if we are not keeping our bodies strong, especially our upper bodies. A lot of the work that we have to do requires our upper body. There are different ways and tricks that I can personally show you to use your legs and be able to kind of compensate a little bit, but you have to be strong in your upper body. So track and field, I was a heptathlete. I was a 400-meter dash runner and a 400 hurdler. I was an All-American at Kent State University and inducted in the Hall of Fame. Is pretty sweet. Those was good days back in 2002. I was the 9th fastest woman in the nation at that time in the 400 hurdles. So physically fit from head to toe. I was ready to run with the big dogs, so those were good days. But staying physically fit is so much more than just your physical self. You have to be mentally healthy. As Sergeant said earlier, you also have to change your lifestyle. I mean, there's a huge commitment that is involved with that whole piece right there. Your lifestyle, from what you eat, to the people you hang around, to the choices that you make, to just going to bed at nighttime, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning on your phone. You got to go to bed. You got to get some sleep. You got to eat well, drink your fluids. All of that has to change to pursue this career. And it's something you want to start working on right now. Start getting in the habit of making good choices to improve yourself as an individual and your tempo in general. And then that lifestyle piece of just working out and staying in shape. It will only help you in the future. So yes, athletics is great.
Did you say 400 hurdles?
400 hurdles, 57:43 was the time. Was that a challenge?
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
So you talk about tough. It's tough enough to run a 400 hurdles.
Yes. Give me 10 hurdles. Yes.
Yeah. I guess it's a follow-up question for Aja first. I know they have different programs like within the police department. Does the firefighter have departments where you guys do like different sports, whether it be like softball teams, basketball teams? I know football teams are some of the things they do.
Yes. Basketball, I know historically has been one of them. Boxing, I know was one that I haven't participated in. And I want to say that there was even a touch football at one point that I had heard about. I know they as in we also do like different golf outings and stuff like that. A lot of times it's just whoever wants to come and have a good time. But as far as it kind of being real competitive, I know that basketball for sure and boxing. And then there's like firefighter games too, that I know that we have participated. I haven't participated in, but there's a couple ladies that I know that have as well. So yes.
Awesome. Chris, what about you? I think you do some hooping, right?
Yeah, if we can add to that. Yeah, so right now we have police and fire. We have a joint basketball team called the Marauders basketball team. Now also we do a annual charity game where we play against fire, and sometimes we bring in the state troopers and we bring the sheriff's office. But that's something that we do, for charity. But we also have a team that travels. We go to the World Games where we've played teams from China, Greece, France, everywhere. The last one we went to was in LA, and then we also go to the World Games, and that's in San Diego every year. And we've been to that 3 or 4 times. But really a good opportunity to build camaraderie with other PDs across the country and firefighters across the country, share patches and coins and stuff like that. But we also have a baseball team. We have a football team, and it's actually contact with pads and helmets and all of that stuff. We have a soccer team. We have a hockey team that a couple times a year they'll play at Nationwide Arena. And then we've been actively trying to get a women's basketball team going, just because there's several women that, want to hoop, and we definitely want to get them out there, and then we can go to the games with them as well. But a lot of camaraderie. Again, we're big team oriented jobs anyway. And I mean, sports is just a really fun outlet for us to get that energy out and to be competitive and have fun. So
a lot of our youth, we have a large amount of youth that want to be a firefighter and EMT. Like it's a popular career choice for them. And Chris, this question is for you. This is from Abdul Rahman from Groveport. He said, what would you say to youth that would change their mind about becoming law enforcement? Because we ask a lot of our youth and they're like, I don't want to be a police officer. So what's something you would say to them?
I would ask them what's important to you. If safety and service is very important to you, those are 2 major pieces of what we do. I mean, a lot of people think that it's a lot of violence and car chases and just crazy stuff. Now, I would say that's probably about 10% of the job. The rest of the job is really soft skills, talking to people, knowing how to, get people resources they need, being a good administrative assistant, essentially taking good notes, being able to identify what the situation is, put it on paper so that when it goes to court, it's solid, being able to document, domestic violence, helping somebody out of that type of situation. There was a lot more opportunities for service and care for others than people recognize from, police work. It's not all, flash dash shootings and all of that. There's a lot of downtime essentially, and a lot of just helping people. If I was to, and honestly, I don't know if somebody didn't want to do it, but their body of work says that they would be great at it, I would talk to them more about it. Like, tell me what you think is bad about this. And of course, I'd listen to their reasoning, and then I would ultimately, once they turn 21, I would encourage them to do a ride along, to actually ride with an officer on a second or third shift on a busy night, on like a Friday night or Saturday, and see what it's like. Give it a view, see what it is from that officer's seat. We offer that twice a year for any citizen, as long as you are 21. And I really think that's what, for me, that really sold me, because I, again, saw the interaction between the officer and the community. And again, it wasn't a whole lot of enforcement stuff. It was just, hey, how you doing? I'm just checking to see how y'all doing. And, and they would check up with the officer, like, man, this is what my kids are doing, blah, 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 blah. And he knew the people. And I'm like, man, yeah, I could do this, So that's what I would say to somebody is give it a shot, see if it's something you like. And if it's not, then, move on to the next thing. But if it's in your realm of skill set and what you're able to do, I say at least give it a try, give it a look. Just give it a look.
So Aja, I have a question for you. One of the things we like to do is like exposure for our youth. I think we talked about this on the phone one day, but we like to do like site visits where we can bring some youth out to kind of get the experience and see what kind of like day in the life of a firefighter is, and some of those types of things. Is that something you guys offer at the Fire Academy?
We have a lot of COVID restrictions right now. That question has come up quite a bit. So as of literally today, we're not able to bring the civilians in, but I know once things kind of change, numbers start dropping again, absolutely. We have one-on-one opportunities. We have ride-alongs also. So, and I know those are shut down right now too, but typically we have you go into a firehouse, actually, and kind of be given a tour. Look at the trucks, talk to the firefighters, and kind of see what a typical day is like. And not only that, you'll have an opportunity to ride the trucks. When the runs come in, you jump on the medic too. When the fire trucks, it's time for them to go out on a fire or an alarm, you jump on those trucks too. You do have to be 18 to pursue that opportunity. So I'm hoping, because this is an open enrollment year, January, we only open enrollment every 2 years, and actually it was 3 years this time around. So we're hoping we can get more people to kind of get a little more hands-on and have those experiences before they move forward. So yes, we do. And if I can share that with you in the future, when that opens back up as an opportunity, for sure. Right now, we'll be glad, myself and other recruiters will be glad to come into the schools and speak with them if that's still an opportunity. Yes, no problem there. We can bring in our gear and a couple different things. A lot of times we have the students try them on so they can feel what it feels like. So there's definitely still some opportunities. So we'll touch more on that too in the future.
Kind of the same question for you. Are there any opportunities or things you do? We're currently inside of 3 high schools: Groveport, Madison, Franklinton High School, and also the Charles School. And I would love, of course, Aja, having you come in, and then Chris, if there's anything you guys do to do those types of things. I'm big on exposure and letting the youth really get to meet you and know who you are.
We have 2 youth-based programs that we really like. I like when people go, hey, can you come out to my school? So I'm like the end of the pipeline for our youth pipeline services. So we have our PSC program. So that is our public safety core. And that's actually built for students who are in the 9th grade and 14 through age, I think 20. 20 is the latest they can go. But that is a program led by Sergeant Lindsay Ally and Officer Sam James. That today they just went to Northland. So they have a whole spiel and a program that they give out to people. But we also like for people to come in and tour the academy as well. So you and the students can see, what our facilities look like and what it would look like for them to come through. We would typically set that up for like a Saturday because, you know, while the recruits are there, we have the same where the COVID restrictions, and if you get one recruit sick, then it'll set off a chain reaction, and we don't want to do that because they need to hurry up and get out on these streets. But we can do that, and then of course we also have our cadet program, which is 18 and up. So those are for kids who may want to, you know, once they graduate, if that secondary education isn't the next step with college, then you know the cadet program is something to where they would be paid. It's a paid internship. And they would work. They would actually have a 16-week academy at our police facility, and then they would go into different parts of the police department to work and see kind of the inner workings as they make their way to becoming 21, take the test, and then apply to become police officers. So I can share that information with Officer James and Sergeant Ally, and then those two programs we can make sure that they get to you all, and then I would probably be the one to do the tour, so we would figure that out as well.
This is my last question to wrap up. If I'm a young person sitting there today, what are the requirements to be a firefighter? And then if I wanted to be a firefighter, what would my first steps be?
Minimum requirements, first and foremost, is that you have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be at least 17 and a half at the time that you fill out the application and have turned 18 by the time that you are hired. You also must have an Ohio driver's license and a GED or high school diploma. So those are our 4 minimum requirements. That's it. There is no age cap, by the way. So if you are pursuing the Columbus Division of Fire again at 17 and a half, our open enrollment is this January. Again, once it closes after January 31st, it may not open again for 2 to 3 years. So anybody that's thinking about it, I can give Anthony our phone number with recruitment, and you can please send it over to them. I will be glad to speak with anyone directly and answer any of their questions. I've got a template that I created that I can send over to them. That's got several links in it. There's a lot to read online. So we just kind of narrowed it all down and put all that super important information into that template for you. So again, our training academy is like 8.5 months long. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of hard work. You're gonna learn a whole bunch of stuff. You're gonna graduate with your Firefighter 1, your Firefighter 2, and your EMT or Emergency Medical Technician basic card. And then you're in a journeyman program from the day that you started that training academy for a total of 3 years. So there's a lot of studying. You're going to have like the equivalent of an associate's degree within those 8 to 8.5 months in that training academy. So, you know, being that student, staying a student is very, very important. So, you know, please focus on getting good grades, going to school, being there on time, and just making good habits for yourself so that they can just kind of, you know, move into this career. Very, very important. So that's what I would say as far as the fire department right now, and we also have a cadet program. So I'm glad you mentioned that as well. We do have a cadet program. It started in September. So we're looking at that as a 2-year program. So the next one's probably going to start sometime in August, September of next year. But you have to be 18 years old to pursue that. It's a 2-year program, as I mentioned before. It is a paid program also. So if someone is interested in that, and we can kind of futuristically speak on that opportunity, again, come August, September of next year, that is certainly an option too. Oh, one more thing. So, so the pay, everybody's numero uno question, right? Like, so how much am I going to get paid if I'm a firefighter? Oh, the answer is a lot. Okay, no, but seriously. So you're going to start off getting paid right at about $58,000 a year. We get a call all the time, and people are like, okay, how much do I got to pay to go through y'all's academy? And I'm like, oh, zero, right? You don't pay anything. We are going to pay you to make you into the, you know, the firefighter that we want you to become. So we're going to give you all the tools you need to be successful. So about $58,000 a year. It's like $27.43 an hour. Okay, that's a lot, right? Plus all the other benefits. And that's just the base pay. We still got all kind of overtime, lots of other benefits that we can kind of talk about too, if anyone is truly interested. And I sure hope that there are more people that when we first started, I hope there's more people now than there were when we first started. And then we actually get a pay increase every year on our anniversary day. And we top out at like $90,000 a year. Did y'all hear that? Let me say it again. we top out at $90,000 a year, and that's at your 5th year. So that's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of lives that you can impact, and there is a lot of things that you can do within the community and as a firefighter that really make this job super exciting. And it for me, is where I believe is my purpose and where I belong. And I'm hoping that others feel the same way after today's meeting. So thank you for the opportunity of being here today.
You're welcome, and thank you for being here. Chris, same question to you. Young person, they want to be a police officer. What do they got to do? What are the requirements?
Yeah, so ours, you have to wait until you're at least 20. So you have to be 20 to apply. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to have your GED or high school diploma, and then you also have to be a U.S. citizen. So ours is pretty much the same, except there's an age difference. You have to be 20 to take our test, and then 21 at the time of appointment, whereas you can be 17 and a half and 18 at the time of appointment for fire. But ours is the same. Now, I did want to have to throw this out there because she was talking money, and our money is a little bit bigger right now. So and so we have they have their hiring, where our hiring process in February, and we're supposed to hire 170 police officers this year. That is a mountain, but I think we'll get it done because at the end of 2023, December of 2022, our wage and our new contract will kick in, and the starting pay for a rookie recruit officer will be $67,000 a year.
Wow.
And after 4 years, you'll be looking at $105,000 base pay. So they have 90, we got 105. So it's just a little bit of a boost, but, and then again, that's not duty, all of these different opportunities. Again, but both worthwhile careers, both, heavy in public service. And again, you're not stuck behind a desk. Not to say anything wrong about being stuck behind a desk, but our desks are a cruiser and a fire engine and being out in the community. And for those people who want to be active and stay active, I mean, you ain't no better way to go, just to be honest.
Good stuff. It's good stuff.
Well, I love the fact that as a firefighter, you can start right away. And Chris, I kind of have some concern for our youth that they're 18 and they may want to be a police officer. There's that 2 years in between. Do you have any recommendation that maybe there's an associate's degree they could go after, or they could seek employment elsewhere that may better suit them to set them up to be a police officer?
Yeah, so that's the pathway I ended up taking, right? So I didn't know I was going to go into police work, but when I did, I was already set up because I went to college, right? When I went to college, I had started in pre-dentistry. That was my first major. Things went on. I ended up changing to psychology. I changed to English, and then I ended up in criminology when I figured I wanted to go in that field. If people are interested in becoming law enforcement, going into a criminal justice associate's program or a bachelor's program or criminology, those things will be very helpful when it comes to testing and down the line when you go into your classes at the academy, when you go through those. So I would recommend, if you want this job, go into go to an associate's program, go to a bachelor's program, get that criminology, criminal justice degree, or even sociology or, psychology, something like that. But again, this is a very heavy service oriented job. And you're, again, going to know how to have to talk to people, a lot of good customer service. And those are the skills that you want to build up. I mean, even for me, I as a teacher, as a substitute teacher, I mean, the skills that you learn from just working with kids, I mean, it's there's some challenging moments, but there's a lot of rewarding moments. So as long as you are, building toward that, and especially when it comes to criminology and criminal justice, just stay on that path. And then when you get 21 time, make sure you get with a recruiter and start studying that information so that you can get into the academy and be successful. And again, I did want to make sure that we throw out the cadet program as well, because they can do that once you graduate from high school.
Okay. Cool. Well, that wraps things up for me. I just want to, on behalf of Lead the Way, thank you both for being here. You're both heroes, but not only that, in our community, you guys are doing great things, being great role models for our youth. And I just really appreciate both you taking the time out.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it.
Unless you guys got anything to add or anything I forgot to ask you, that concludes everything. If you got anything to add, please feel free to.
I'll add one more thing. Yes, listen, stay in school. Education is so key. It's really key to everything. Just stay with it. It will get hard sometimes, but it'll just test yourself. Jobs will get hard, but just stick with it. Stay faithful, stay humble, treat people the way you want to be treated. And when you guys get older, if you're interested, please come see us. Appreciate y'all.
And I definitely got to second that. And I'm gonna tie it into the fire department just a little bit too, because there are background removal standards, y'all. There are, and they are not going to change. Okay. So the choices that y'all are making today are going to affect you tomorrow and for the rest of y'all's life. And the career opportunity of becoming a firefighter or a police officer, y'all got to keep y'all's records clean. Y'all got to keep y'all's nose clean, is what we like to say. I can't stress that enough. We are going to fingerprint y'all, polygraph y'all. We're going to pull y'all's transcripts. We're going to look at y'all's credit scores. We're going to know everything about you and all the choices that you've made in your life from when you was however old, okay? We'll be able to find it. And then we're going to ask you to tell us about it. And what was you thinking when you made that choice, right? So start making good choices now, right? If you have a felony, unfortunately, this job is not going to be for you. I mean, you got to keep your records clean. You got to make good choices from this point forward. Please, commit to the fact that it's necessary that you make good choices so that will affect your future, your present and your future in a positive way. I know each and every one of you can do this job, can do both of these jobs, and can do it well. So we'd love to have you as part of our family. If you don't come to fire and you go to police, okay, that's fine. But we'd love to have you at 17 and a half. All right. That one was for you. Thank you again. I appreciate you guys. We look forward to coming to your school to talk to y'all too.
Yeah, definitely. We'll set that up. Thank you. Everybody have a nice evening.
Thank you.